questions, and again, many of the neighbors from Cedar Cottage in the area that's contacted me. The motion is very clear. It says that it directs our staff to start the consultation process, not only with the Vietnamese community, but also with larger area residents and businesses as well. I've made it very clear that the intent of the motion is not to change the neighborhood name. Should Little Saigon become a reality, it becomes part of the neighborhood, and does not change any of the neighborhood names, full stop. And I've said this to many of those folks. Maybe that's why they're not here, is because I've answered all their questions very clearly. Again, really, the motion starts the consultative process, and that's exactly what the Vietnamese committee here knows that very well as do the residents now. In terms of the geography, well, that is part of the consultative process, because there is some different ideas about how big or how small, what part of Kingsway should it be on. That's part of the consultative process. So this initiates the process, and it ain't, as Councillor Anton was worried about, it's going to have a big, huge name change overnight. It begins the process. Thank you.
Thank you.
Councillor Anton, something to add?
The reason I question it is because I don't know if Councillor Chang would like to make that clear.
Councillor Anton.
I'm still in my 5 minutes.
Yes, but I'm going to just Councillor Anton. Just let me finish my sentence, and then I'll give you an opportunity to speak. Councillor Jang, I can entertain a bit of back and forth here. Councillor Jang has introduced a motion, given an explanation. You have concerns, and so that should be more rightfully entertained in terms of your expression of concerns or wanting to make changes at the portion of the time when we consider the motion at the end of the speakers. And so I'm going to ask that you hold that type of suggestion on changes until we get to the end portion, which is after we hear the speakers.
I think you told, okay, now you said it's my turn to speak.
Yes.
So please let me speak. The wording of the motion says, conduct community consultations to designate and promote an area along Kingsway to Little Saigon. In other words, it may be that Councillor Chang does not intend it to be a foregone conclusion, but it does appear to be a foregone conclusion in the motion. And I wonder if, in the course of the discussions, Councillor Chang might entertain to consider designating and promoting an area. Because I think what's concerning people about this is...
Thank you, Councillor Anton. So,
I believe I have the floor.
no, in fact, you don't, Councillor Anton, so thank you for that. So, again, as per my instruction, if you're going to want to make suggestions on changes to the language, we do it at the end. Unfortunately, Councillor Anton, we are not in debate, and you should cease and desist when the chair is speaking, and if you have a challenge of the chair, it is open to you to challenge the chair, but I've given you my instructions. So are you challenging the chair, Councillor Anton? Councillor Anton, are you challenging the chair?
Yes.
If you would challenge the chair, we will test the will of council. Are you challenging the chair?
May I answer that question?
Apparently you are not.
No, Mr.
Thank
Chair,
you.
may I answer that question?
Our first speaker is
Mr. Chair, may I answer that question? You asked a question, I will answer the question.
Christine Ackerman.
Thank you very much for your consideration, Mr. Chair. I sure look forward to impartial chairs. Thanks,
Ms. Ackerman, welcome to Vancouver City Council.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Hello to Chair and Councillors. I am here today representing Don Davies, Member of Parliament for Vancouver Kingsway. Don is interested in this motion specifically because that area does fall in the Vancouver Kingsway riding, and he's written Mayor and Council a letter in support of this motion, which you should have received by now, and I'm just going to read a few of the reasons why he supports this motion from the letter. So, as Member of Parliament for Vancouver Kingsway, Don does support the motion for the following reasons. First of all, the area is in his riding. Since 1979, the Vietnamese people have been the fastest growing and a very vibrant community in Vancouver. The significant concentration of Vietnamese people in the Vancouver Kingsway neighborhoods, such as Renfrew Collingwood and Kensington Cedar Cottage, is very visible. Vietnamese businesses are highly concentrated along that corridor and provide a clear, visible majority of enterprises in that area. This designation would help to revitalize the city with the addition of new businesses that are attracted to that designated area. It would help to beautify the streetscape with banners and other indicia and attract more customers to the area, thereby supporting all businesses in the corridor. Just a note about the business support. Don did go door to door with members of the Vietnamese community with the petition to get support, and he noted and wanted me to make sure that you knew that he found unanimous support from all businesses, not just Vietnamese, for this designation. The Vietnamese community in Vancouver Kingsway is healthy and active, having held its second annual Tet Lunar New Year Parade this year. The Vietnamese community is growing significantly and faster than the overall population in Canada. We've given some stats there. Between 1996 and 2001, Canada had an 11% growth in people with Vietnamese origins versus a 4% overall population growth. Many other major cities all over the world have recognized the contributions of the Vietnamese by designating areas as Little Saigon. So the upshot of his support is that he's hoping that this council will provide unanimous support for this motion. And I'm here to answer any questions you have.
Senator Ackerman, thank you for coming today, and we do have some questions first from Councillor Woodsworth.
Thank you very much, and I'd like to acknowledge the fine work of the Member of Parliament for the Kingsway riding and really paying attention to his community and working hard there. Can you tell me approximately how many businesses he would have visited in terms of seeing whether they were support for this?
Well, I know that on the petition currently, the letter is a bit outdated on the numbers at the time we wrote it, but right now they have support of over 3,000 individuals, and I believe it's 200 businesses. So when they went door to door, I can't really tell you how many they did. It was a number of hours over a couple of afternoons.
And I presume the Member of Parliament has been in that riding for a number of years now, so is quite conversant with the businesses, and they would feel free to really let him know if they had any concerns.
Don has been the MP for Vancouver Kingsway since 2008. He has a good relationship with the small businesses, specifically in that area.
And has he had any feedback from community organizations that you think needs to be presented before us?
We've heard from the Vietnamese community organizations. Obviously, they're all here as well to support this motion. We have not heard any negative feedback from any other groups, namely community groups, as far as we can tell. Most people are definitely behind this.
And you mentioned that you feel that designating this area Little Saigon, if in fact the staff research indicates that's the direction we should go, would be healthy for the neighborhood, that it would stimulate business in the area. Could you elaborate on that?
Well, I mean, it's like any area that you might designate, for example, Chinatown. We have that already, an area where you go, you know that when you go there, you're going to see Chinese businesses and so on and so forth. But there are also mainstream businesses in that area too, banks and such. So I can imagine that if you have an area designated as the Vietnamese community's area, you're going to see a lot more businesses growing there because people will be attracted to going there, shopping there, spending their time there.
Do you think this actually might open up the whole Kingsway area to tourists visiting the area as they do Chinatown?
Oh, fantastic. Absolutely.
Okay, thank you so much for coming.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Councillor Woodsworth. Those are your questions. Thank you for coming today. Our next speaker is Eleanor Hadley.